Hello, my name is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 264 of Gaming with Grief. And I'm calling this episode, the In Memoriam review, Hi-Fi Rush. I'm also going to be talking about Tango Gameworks, which you see up on the screen. If you're seeing this properly, if I have everything set up, I just kind of want to go over the company a little bit because, I talked about with Avon a few weeks ago that or just in general that, a lot of these studios got shut down. Arcane Austin got shut down. They did Redfall, which, didn't set the world on fire. I obviously played it for a bit. Didn't think it was great. But I don't know if I talked about it here or just with somebody, I think just in general, when you hear about like Tango Gameworks shutting down or Arcane Austin, in Arcane Austin's case, Redfall wasn't a success, but they worked on a lot of games before that were. And so it's kind of sad when you can't fail as a developer and you have to make the hits. And in the case of Hi-Fi Rush, many of the developers have shared over and over again the amount of awards that Hi-Fi Rush had won and said that it wasn't enough. And, there was a quote going around by, not Mikey Barra, there was another top... Matt Booty, I think is who it was, where they had an all-hands-on meeting, apparently after Tango Gameworks was shuttered, and he talked to them about, the Bethesda team, about, what Microsoft expected and what Xbox expected, and they talked about they wanted smaller games that won awards, and everybody was like, wait a minute, you just let Tango Gameworks go, and they were a smaller team that made a smaller game that won awards. So what do you mean? And I think what they mean is, listen, I'm not going to defend them, ruining people's livelihoods. Those people worked hard, won awards, basically surpassed everybody's expectations, and then they were closed for it. But I think what he was talking about was we want there to be a 1-year turnaround on games. And I don't know if that's possible anymore. Because it seems like now that Call of Duty has to make all the money in the world, which is terrible. And to say this, I just want to go over. I was going to do all this deep research. Not that I didn't want to research this episode, but I was going to go to Wikipedia, and sometimes that's not great. And then they just have this on their website, the whole history. I didn't actually know that the company was founded in 2008. And I know they were a Japanese developer, but they're, part of Bethesda Softworks. So apparently they were always under Bethesda. Shinji Mikami was the founder. And he obviously made Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil series. And then later, right here in 2010, they became a member of the ZeniMax Media Group. So there we go. The Evil Within was released. My wife played that game. She really loved The Evil Within. It was it was a horror game. I'm not really into horror games. It was very weird. You definitely can see Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil roots with that game though, because when I would come into the bedroom and see my wife play it, the amount of monsters, you're like, ugh, that looks like something out of Resident Evil, but worse. Not to say he's ripping himself off, but hey, if you have a pedigree of making horror monsters, make more of those horror monsters for our horror game. I watched her play Evil Within 2. That was released in 2017, which I thought that was a lot longer ago. But the good thing about Evil Within 2 is it seemed more action-oriented. Not in a good or bad way. Again, my wife played a lot of it. And I was kind of blown away every time I went in there and saw her basically playing the Division, what I would consider the Division in a horror game, but she liked it. I never played Ghostwire Tokyo. That came out in 2022. I heard mixed things about it. I heard it was very repetitive, but the fact that what they created of Tokyo or Japan, and I forget what city that was in, but what they created, I've heard was very nice. And in fact, it says right here, it got a Famitsu Platinum Hall of Fame, Japanese Game Award in 2022, and in 2023, Hi-Fi Rush was released. It also won some awards. They're not listed here. I think maybe they, I can imagine where if you're updating this website and you hear the studio gets closed, no one's there to do it, or you just figure, I'm not doing it. I I did want to go to the games tab though. So yeah, we just talked about some of these. I just played Hi-Fi Rush, for this In Memoriam review. I love all the characters, the style. It's just dripping with style. It looks like a comic book. Chai, the main character, they're usually named after teas like peppermint, chai. The heroes, 808, the cat's adorable. I'm not good at rhythm games. I just kind of realized like I'm old and I just feel that I don't got it in me to do the rhythm game. I got stuck at the pairing window and I couldn't progress past that. I just suck. What I hate is they don't make you do it in a testing thing or like a tutorial. They literally make you do it to fight a boss. And I don't like that. But that doesn't mean I hate the game. It just means I'm bad at rhythm games. And it's such a weird, like, look at these games. So you have The Evil Within and The Evil Within 2 horror games. Kind of Shinji Mikami, Resident Evil, that's what you're going to do. Then you have Ghostwire Tokyo, which is kind of a horror game where you're, like, banishing ghosts in, Tokyo with, like, weird cat cradle hand symbols that I've seen. And you're like, well, that's different, a little different, And then you have Hi-Fi Rush. It's like, hey, we're going to make this rhythm-based 3D platformer with a dumb protagonist. He gets a metal arm. He wants to be part of this industry, and he wields a guitar like a weapon. How does that get greenlit? And then, two, again, the studio does what it's supposed to do. Delivers the game. It launches to Game Pass. Totally successful. Then, well, listen, maybe not. Maybe Microsoft's how was I gonna put this? Their idea of what is successful has changed. There's a lot of talk online. Many people have been interviewed. This isn't like, I guess it is kind of a rumor, but it's people being interviewed that used to work for Microsoft that now are in other fields saying, when you spend $69 billion on, Activision Blizzard, that makes everybody focus on you to wonder how you're going to get that money back. And you can't get the money back with Hi-Fi Rush, even though I think Hi-Fi Rush is a great game and deserves to be applauded. Again, I'm not good at rhythm games, but I'm like, man, they're not going to get to do this again. Or there might have been assists in the assist settings in the options, but even in the second one going, if you don't like rhythm games, maybe we'll work with some people about accessibility to make this more accessible. Maybe we could put in some more sliders like, hey, I'm terrible at rhythm. I just want to play the game though. All that stuff could be refined. Supposedly before they went out of business or were closed, I should say, they were pitching a Hi-Fi Rush 2. So we'll never know. We'll never know what they're capable of. I just, listen, I love what Hi-Fi Rush was going for. It was funny. I laughed so much. Chai was a complete idiot, but I loved him so much. Whatever. He's stupid. I love him. Don't change Chai. And, shout out to all the developers. I think maybe I can find... I don't know if there is in a total... they don't have maybe they in the careers. Yeah, this kind of is rough. Hey, we're hiring. Not really. I don't know if there was a studio count on Hi-Fi. I heard 100 people worked on Hi-Fi Rush, but I can't find their total studio count. But, now these people are out of a job. It wasn't even a thing of can we absorb you and use some of your talent in other places? That happened to other studios that got closed. When Microsoft closed the 4 studios, they closed. One of them got absorbed into Elder Scrolls Online. But, I don't even know. I mean, everybody wants a job and, you work in video games. But, could you imagine doing something like Hi-Fi Rush? This didn't happen. But imagine if you're working on something like Hi-Fi Rush and you're like, God, that was so creative. Man, look at this. We got the rhythm down. We got these songs. These are great. The soundtrack's great, too. We got all this stuff going for us. And they're like, okay, well, we're closing your studio. And now you get to work on Elder Scrolls Online. I like Elder Scrolls Online, but can you imagine that team? You're like, what? The fantasy thing? Ugh. well, I need a job, so I'm going to go do that. It's just heartbreaking. These people deserve so much more. So I just want to say in a heartfelt way, thank you so much, Tango Gameworks. I didn't play every game you had, but I love the direction you're going into. I love the fact that, you were so creative and so different. And again, just looking at the games that came out, it's like they were really kind of like going towards, hey, what else could we try? Which is a studio is the exact place you want to be. And I always heard the rumor that Call of Duty would make so much money that you know Call of Duty would make so much money that Tango Gameworks could just work away in the corner, deliver a Hi-Fi Rush, and then later Microsoft could look at their portfolio and say, look at all these crazy games. We have Call of Duty and we have Hi-Fi Rush. But they can't say that. Those teams are just going to be, the ones that maybe some people got rehired. I don't know. But to just be recycled in of like, let's say that they did get rehired and it's like, okay, now you're working on Call of Duty maps. Could you imagine? I'd be like, I need a job, but like, I don't care if this shed looks good. I don't care if like, I don't know. It's a shame. And it makes me sad thinking about it. I'm going to do more of these in Memoriam reviews. I want to do some other companies that got closed by bigger companies. There's Take-Two closed some studios, and Take-Two obviously owns Grand Theft Auto. And if Grand Theft Auto is a $1 billion franchise or a $2 billion franchise, and you can't keep a studio open, again, the saying is, if Grand Theft Auto, I'm just gonna look up. Hang on, Hi-Fi Rush. This is bothering me. We're gonna look at it in real time. Okay, we're just gonna go. Oh, right here. Here we go. Let's see if I can. I can't. Let me see if I can move this in real time. I'm gonna do this. I'm doing it live, as they say, as the kids say. All right. So we'll do this in real time. It's cut out a little bit. You're gonna see a lot of black around there, but Hi-Fi Rush in 2024 won the BAFTA Games Award for Best Animation. It was a nominee for Artistic Achievement. It was a nominee for Audio Achievement. It was a nominee for Best Family Game. And it was a nominee for New Intellectual Property. And it won a Navigator Award it was a nominee for it won, in 2023, it won the Game Awards for Best Audio Design and Joystick Awards. So it's won awards. And you're like, well, it's not enough. So pack your desk up, get out. That doesn't sound good at all. So again, I said it once, I'll say it again. Thank you so much, Tango Gameworks, for everything you did. I hope some of the people that work together get to work together again, and you get to do something great. With that, I think that's it this week. I will talk to you guys again next week.